What is up, my guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. As always, I am your host, Daniel, followed almost as always by my co-host.
Julian.
And today we're going to be talking about Kong, Skull Island, movie released back in, what was it, 2017, I think? What was it?
About there.
Alright, yeah. Kong, Skull Island, the second movie in the whole monster universe type thing, following after Godzilla, which came out in 2014. Well, as the title suggests, this movie follows Kong, or King Kong, whatever you want to call him, because he isn't really a king right now. He's more of a god, actually. That's what the natives called him. That's what John C. Reilly called him. He's god.
That's also what the director said. He said the reason why he made King Kong so big was because he wanted to seem more like a godlike figure, a huge deity.
Oh yeah,
similar to the giants in Greek lore.
Of course, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, so this movie centers around Kong, but mainly follows a group of soldiers and a photographer and a tracker that go out to Skull Island because they quote unquote want to do geological research, even though John Goodman's character really just wants to destroy Kong, because it was like he said it himself, like he was part of a ship that went down, but it was because of Godzilla that destroyed the ship. I think, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, because he was talking about with Samuel L. Jackson. Like, oh yeah, have you heard of the whole ship name thing? He's like, no. He's like, well, I was on it. They said it was an attack, but no, it was a monster that killed me. I looked it dead in the eyes, and it was soulless as it killed the people. And the only other monster we know of is Godzilla. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how in the movie, we'll get into the bigger details in a bit, but this is to lead into it. I like how it's a lot more like brutal than the Peter Jackson one, and it has that kind of weight of being in this foreign land and facing this like godlike being, and how like hopeless it would be for like a man, like a group of people to face something like this. There's also a lot of references to stuff like Vietnam and things.
Oh yeah,
even the poster for King Kong, it was inspired by Apocalypse Now. Actually,
of course, yeah. I mean, of course, there's gonna be references to Vietnam. This movie takes place in 1972, right on the cusp of the end of the Vietnam War. So yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was Nixon called it off during that year, like January of that year. So it's like exactly at the beginning.
Exactly. And plus, like, it differs from Peter Jackson's King Kong because that one was more of a direct remake of the first one that came out in the 1930s. Well, this one's basically its own thing. That's why.
You know, it's funny, too, because it was supposed to be about as long as Peter Jackson's one. It was also supposed to be 3 hours.
Oh, God.
But it decided to cut some stuff out, which I think does make the pacing better, because...
Of course, yeah.
This is going to be my rating. Obviously, my favorite one's the first King Kong, but I actually like this more than the Jackson movie.
Oh, yeah, because, like, this one has more, like, of an engaging plot, as in the other one, it takes a little too much time with itself. I think it's because, like, Peter Jackson was still on his, like, Lord of the Ring high, where he had to make some long-ass films. And so, yeah, that's what he did with Kong, or King Kong.
Yeah, my problem with that one is that they don't make King Kong a beast in that one. He's a bit too much man-like. He's not otherworldly, and
I think it's because he wanted to give it more, like, human characteristics so that the audience feels more attached to him, as opposed to the original one, where he's seen more as a monster. But in this one, they want people to be sympathetic towards King Kong. And whereas this one, people worship him as a deity.
Yeah,
so we have 3 different versions of Kong. We have the monster, we have the human, and the god. Sorry, I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. You have what you want to talk about. So the thing I like about this too is that in the Peter Jackson one, it is a bit too pushy. That at the end, when it's like, "Oh, love killed him," it's like it's done better in the first film. This one, it's like these hints of him not being deity-like gives me the sympathy, where it's kind of like, oh no, he does get wounded, or his whole family did get like destroyed and defeated by these
skull crawlers. Yeah. Oh yeah, because like to backtrack a bit, where you said like, oh yeah, what can these people do? I mean, it shows that the people can't harm Kong because they used the napalm, which harmed him, and they used the helicopter blades that also cut up his hand and part of his shoulders and everything too. So yeah, technically these people can hurt him, but it's just on the fact that it's more of an inconvenience rather than actual pain to him, because he just walked through that napalm like it was nothing. That's what happened. Yeah. So yeah, more so about like the human characters, they're actually not that bad. Like, I know in most of these monster movies, like if they tend to focus more on the human people, it tends to be a terrible movie, or like not really terrible, like a bad one. But there's a good balance between them. John C. Reilly really carries the majority of the comedy bit because, well, he's John C. Reilly. Like, Tom Hiddleston does a good job of portraying like this badass tracker because he already has the charisma from Loki and everything like that, from Marvel and other stuff. The real surprise though, which I know is probably gonna trigger a lot of people right now, Brie Larson actually shows emotion in this. That's a big shocker, because she was. Oh my god! I know this has been said so many times, but come on, what the hell was Captain Marvel? Why was she just so meh in that movie?
Yeah,
I'm not.
She's a good actress. Like she's also
Exactly.
her in Room is also she was pretty good in that movie too.
Exactly. I'm not trying to discredit her as an actor. I'm just saying like, what the hell was that in Captain Marvel? I get it. You want an overconfident badass female superhero, but she has to be somewhat charismatic. Take Wonder Woman for example. She was charismatic and she was still portrayed as a badass female character.
I feel like you're gonna talk a lot more about this when we do Wonder Woman 1984.
Yep, most likely. And then look at Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. She was a villain, but she was still charismatic and still portrayed as a badass.
Yeah. Well, usually the villains are portrayed as being charismatic a lot of times.
I know that, but I mean, compared to how Captain Marvel is right now, because like that was just weird. I don't want to delve more into this. It's just that Brie Larson really should have taken what she did from this film, Kong Skull Island, and kind of transfer that over to Captain Marvel, because I just don't really want to get all that into it. Otherwise, we'll be here for like 50 minutes.
Yeah, so the other thing I really like is that the director really puts his heart in his shoulder, as you can definitely tell the influences he has within the.
Oh yeah, of course.
Within the film is that an example being the jacket that one guy has, where it says something about like health.
Oh yeah, for your health, yeah.
Yeah, that's a reference to Akira, actually, like the kind of jacket he has, and then what is it else? He also has a lot of video game inspirations that you can see with like the first person shots, and then also the fact that he does like the 360 motion is similar to Resident Evil, but it doesn't go too overindulgent, and it only like pretty rare, like it's every once in a while, so it's not like okay, like we get it, right?
It's
has some good.
It's used tastefully in a way. That's what I think you're trying to get at. It's used in a tasteful manner.
Good cinematography outside of that, yeah.
Also, another tidbit was that like the director, I think he was on like Screen Junkies when they did the honest trailer for this, and like he bashed like all the haters that said helicopters, because apparently like a bunch of people said, oh, where'd all these helicopters come? And like he went off like on a 2-minute rant saying there's like 30 establishing shots on the ship that shows helicopter after helicopter after helicopter. That's where the fuck these helicopters came from. They were literally on the ship. So I don't want to hear none of y'all complaining about where the fuck these helicopters came from.
Yeah, what else is I think he's supposed to actually be making a Metal Gear movie at some point.
I think
it's been a while since I checked, but yeah, I can see why. I think that's one of the reasons he did the film was because he's like, oh, I want to prove myself to like making a Metal Gear film. If this was a long while ago, but the one thing I also like is that he took a lot of inspirations, as actually the monster designs was inspired by Princess Mononoke. And this isn't also to just say, oh, his inspirations are good, because like the monster designs themselves are good, and they do fit into the Godzilla mythos.
Oh yeah, of course.
How a monster would look. And also, I really like the shot of Kong with the sunset.
Oh yeah, that was like, the best shot. Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see that him having that facing Godzilla, right? That kind of like being the start of the battle. Like here's here's King Kong, and it shows that, and then it's like here's Godzilla, and it'll show like I don't know, like a night sky or something.
Probably yeah. As the sun sets down on Kong, and then the moon will rise on Godzilla like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That just gets even more hyped up for Godzilla versus King Kong, because if you guys don't know, in King of the Monsters, like the last little tidbit after the credits, it shows King Kong fighting Godzilla in like a painting style, like how in this one the mid-credit scene showed Ghidorah, showed Rodan, showed Mothra, and like cave painting designs. And that just gives us more hype for that movie. It also gives a lot of theories of how is King Kong gonna fight Godzilla, because that atomic breath could literally probably kill him in one shot.
Well, that's why he got bigger, so that he'd have more of a fighting chance.
Okay, yeah, because John C. Reilly also stated that Kong may be big, but he's still gonna grow, like hopefully, because if you compare the bones of Kong's parents to how Kong is now, he's gonna get a lot bigger than how he is in the movie.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes. It's cool. It's cool to see, because that might be the smallest he'll be.
Oh yeah, I think this is the second tallest he's been, because I think Peter Jackson's actually the shortest one, and the original one's the tallest one. So this is right now where he's at is like the second tallest one. I think that's what he is. and that's just like he's still towering over all the skull crawlers and everything, even the bigger skull crawler. That's what's the one that killed his parents, but he still towered over that thing. And like, oh my god, how much bigger is he gonna get? 'Cause I know that this is the biggest Godzilla we ever had. They did a little height chart, and that's the biggest one we had so far.
Well, yeah, this also kind of shows that with Kong, right, is that he's still starting to grow. It's like he's an adolescent that has to become like the adult because he doesn't have his parents anymore. He's kind of like a bit too like vulnerable and emotional, and you could tell when like things happen like involving Brie Larson, where
I think so. Like it's also that he's
like
a little
he'll
more
start tearing up and stuff, or when she died, he like you saw his face, right? He was very like, oh no, someone else they cared for died.
I think it's also that it's because he's more headstrong in this one too. Like he goes like straight into the fight. He doesn't really have like a big old strategy or anything like that. It shows hints of him having a strategy using the chain and the rudder from after a while, but before that it was just like, oh, bash you, punch, kick, and everything like that. So yeah, as he grows, he'll probably like
not called. Oh, sorry.
No, just saying like as he grows, he'll probably like develop more of a strategic mindset and everything like that.
This is also probably why he's not called King Kong either, because he's not the king yet. This is how he becomes the king, by beating that strong monsters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because like also like this thing is gonna just be all the hype and everything. And if they mess this up, it's just gonna be a huge letdown for Kong versus Godzilla. I just want to
get wait another 40 years for this.
No. So from the time of this recording, it should be coming out in November, I think.
No, I meant if they mess up the one for next year. Then there'll have to be another 40 years for King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh man, that would just be terrible. Alright, well, I feel like that's it. That's all I really need to talk about. Like nothing, like this movie is actually pretty good on its own, even if it's not part of the Godzilla universe. So
yeah. I will recommend one thing. Not recommend. I mean, I'll say a highlight is when the guy gets like stabbed through the throat by that one like spider monster.
That was just a big old nope.
One of the best deaths. Or the other one is when the guy tries to blow himself up and the monster just like swats him away and he explodes.
Yeah, that was just a big old pile of expectation subversion.
Yeah, that's why like it's like it shows that kind of that pointlessness to like a death, that pointlessness to the fight they're in, which I think is also supposed to be in reference to how Vietnam, like at least from the director's perspective, is like it was a pointless violent war that nobody won. Kind of like at the end of this, nobody really got what they wanted.
Yeah, everyone just survived. That was about it. Like no one killed Kong. Kong didn't kill them. Well, I mean, Kong did kind of get what he wanted. He got revenge for his family by killing the big old skull crawler. So in the end, Kong just won. That's it.
But in the end, when he leaves, you can kind of see his like, it's like he's still empty, right? You still you still see that like he didn't get anything from this, right? He got his revenge, but his family's still dead. Yeah,
Kong. It shows it goes to a point where Kong has more of an emotional portrayal than freaking Abby from The Last of Us Part 2 after she killed Joel.
No, I'd say like honestly, Kong has more emotional like responses than a lot of even big time actors. It's just like this monster has a very like how in the original film, right? He has more emotions than some actual big time actors or dramas.
Well, no, I just wanted to bring that up because like. It took me a minute to actually like look at Abby's face when she did kill Joel and everything, and like I just thought like, yeah, she just had a blank face. Like, come on, where is the emotion here? You're supposed to you killed off one of the best characters of the first game, if not the best character. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, and you show nothing because like you didn't bring your dad back. But here you have a giant ass ape who could show more emotion than a regular ass human.
Because it's like that old One Piece thing, right? Where it's like the boat, like when the boat died, that gives you emotion. It's like it's the same kind of thing where you give something non-human-like, human-like enough traits, not being fully human like Peter Jackson. It's just human-like enough traits to then actually give you even more of that emotion because it's something unfamiliar. You feel bad for it rather than just a human.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got what I wanted to say out of the way. Anything else you want to add to this?
That should be good. If we ever talk more, I could always just bring you up, and if we ever do more Godzilla films or stuff.
That's true. We can still rewatch all the Godzilla films too. I know I've only seen like a good handful of them. So yeah.
Honestly,
we could go back to Peter Jackson's one after a while.
Have you watched Shin Godzilla?
I've heard of it. I haven't really seen it.
Okay, we're gonna watch that one. That's gonna be like that's the one where it's like
yeah. All right, no worries. Yeah, we'll watch that one.
that's the one where it's like I guess we're talking about monster films, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if this was in the top 5, then the best ones is King Kong,
Mm-hmm.
Shin Godzilla, and then Godzilla, and then this is like 4 or 5.
No, but I probably put this. Yeah, from how you describe it, yeah, it'd be Shin Godzilla, then King Kong the original. I probably put this one under King of the Monsters because I like King of the Monsters a little bit better than Skull Island.
Oh
And
really?
then, yeah, and then I probably I'll give it to like the original, the 2014 Godzilla below Kong Skull Island. I
Wait,
was
have
really
you
like that.
watched the original Godzilla?
Again, no.
1954?
I've seen most of it, just not all consecutively like that.
Oh damn, yeah, because that one's definitely.
I
Like,
know-
mean, it's
I know-
hard. It's hard if it's Shin or
Yeah.
this, and also with the original King Kong, but like the original Godzilla is definitely like top 3 monster.
Of course, yeah,
films.
that's why. Because I've seen the majority of it to know what the whole plot of it was and everything too.
But man,
Yeah.
if we talk about the original Godzilla at some point, oof, I'm gonna go off about how bad the original American localization for that was.
Oh yeah, you mean Zilla?
You know about that? This is
Yeah.
like this is for no, not Zilla. That's for the 2000 movie.
Hmm.
The original localization like didn't have the original script. They changed it for Western
Oof.
audiences. The original 1954 movie.
Oof. Alright,
But this
yeah.
one, I'll explain more of that when we do a Godzilla. Right now, we're talking about King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
Obviously, watch it, especially if you like good monster films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, you all know where to dump that stuff. And yeah, everything else you know what to do. See ya.
See ya.